everybody. Here, Real with Omar. Special guest today. You've seen him before. You'll see him again. We'll probably see him again. Allen Ricky Maddox, Hudson United Insurance broker, right?
That's it.
Right,
that's good enough.
All right. And we were talking off camera, and you can't really tell me anything about an insurance quote. You can just maybe presuppose, or
I can tell you what might happen. And even if that might happen, it's still it's still subject to underwriting review. So I'm useless. I can, I point things out. But
could be.
Everything could be.
I got a good question for you. What's the craziest thing that ever happened to a property you insured?
Craziest thing that ever happened to a property insured. I had this lady who, if you're watching, forgive me, but I had this lady that she owned a perfume store, and she got insurance on her perfume. She got insurance on her perfume store, but she called me, and I didn't know if she was playing a joke on me, but she said, I need to call the cops. She said, I've been robbed. That's what she said. I've been robbed. Somebody came in, and I'm thinking, things you see on TV, they take the whole shelf. I'm driving, trying to be a good guy. I said, okay, well.
You said, let me go check it out?
No. I said, you got to call.
Man.
I said, you need to call the police. Why are you
calling me?
Why are you calling me? Okay. And I think about this all the time. Like, why are you calling me? And okay, it's so urgent. But if it's that urgent, you should call the police. Making myself laugh. But I said, okay, so what happened? She said, they stole the perfume. I said, all right. I'm thinking.
How many?
How many? I know some perfumes are expensive. And I said, how much? Okay, so how much did it cost? She said, $20. And I'm driving, and I'm like, and her policy only cost like $400. I didn't make any money off of that policy. Insurance agents don't make any money. We just don't. So it's like, everything's so urgent, but you got to call the cops. But anyway, it was $20. I was waiting for the just kidding. That just kidding never happened. I sent her an official email, Miss, your deductible is $1,000. So you need to
get robbed more.
That's a sunk cost. That's one thing, and then there's other things, but
that's pretty funny.
Something happens every day.
I think one of the weirdest things that happened to me in the lending industry is we closed on a house on a Friday, and on Monday he knocked it down. He knocked it down, and the insurance guy came to inspect it because they did a policy on the.
You mean the house was gone? And I tell people, I say, there's going to be an inspection. Number one, to make sure that this house really exists.
Wait.
Yeah, he knocked it down.
He knocked it down. Was gone.
So what was his
over
answer?
The weekend?
Well,
I needed a builder's insurance in that house. I was like, I guess you do.
Right.
I guess you do. That was the weirdest thing that ever happened to me in terms of.
Inspector said.
Yeah, they were like, yo, there's no house here.
No house
like,
here.
what? Yeah,
that's a problem.
Yeah. So
was it at least I got to ask you. Was it at least a builder's risk construction insurance policy?
No.
It wasn't.
No. We did a rental.
Come on.
We did a rental loan. Our 30-year fixed property loan. He was telling me, I'm going to buy it and I'm going to put tenants in there. And I was like, all right, sounds good to me. All right, do your loan.
This joker knocked it down.
And Monday morning I get a call. There's no building here. Wow. I'm like, I'm looking at the appraisal building. Like, there's no building here. Over the weekend, they tore it up and carted it away. Like,
wow.
He was a serious dude, but he got the builder's risk insurance afterwards.
Afterwards, yeah.
But he
knew what he was doing.
Yeah,
though.
He was like,
y'all not gonna get me.
He's like, oh, you need to inspect that. I was like, we need to inspect that, man. We need to inspect that. I have a question for you. All right, so you work for Hudson United, right? And you have your Instagram moniker or handle, RickyTV. And I think me and you talk a lot off camera about some serious topics. And one of them, I think we talked about a couple of times that I want to bring on the show is building personal brand, building personal equity. Mm-hmm. How long have you been doing insurance?
Man, I've been doing insurance for about 16 years.
That long?
That long, yeah.
Wow.
Started with life insurance and then turned that into financial advising to a T, and then moved into property insurance. But insurance in whole, 16 years. Did it when I turned 18.
Okay, so life insurance first.
Yep.
What didn't you like about it?
Well, I loved it. Okay, everything was great. It's just that the opportunity came. Actually, no. The reason why I expanded is because the person that I was employed by, he said, you will lose your job if you don't. He said, I'm going to fire you unless you get more licenses. So I was like, okay, so I'll get more licenses. And
I don't get fired.
Don't want to get fired.
Okay.
So it organically happened
Okay.
from there. But it's not that I didn't like it. It's just that the opportunity arose, and I actually came out of pain. And the guy said, I'm going to fire you. You need to get these licenses, and if you don't, we got to cut you loose. So I just did it and kind of felt my way through the process. But you never know what you're doing until you look back.
Right.
Hindsight is 20/20.
Right.
But and sometimes you're going through the hardest. You're learning the ropes the hardest way, and you don't know that until you're out of it.
Right.
And it's a great everything's a great training ground. But it's just what I was young and dumb, and I was just doing it.
Right. So you thought life insurance, I'm going to do it this way. This is the way people do it.
Mm-hmm.
I know some very successful financial advisors, and usually they have some sort of some, I don't want to say institutional push, but I'll say that, usually there's people on the inside putting them in front of the right accounts that really drive them to excel. Did you ever find that in your travels, as working at various brokerages or just one brokerage?
It was mainly one, and then later I did an internship between two very large companies that competed against each other. But no, there were no people with money. I was working in the trailer parks.
There was no people with money?
Yeah, it was the trailer parks of Southwest New Jersey. I was door knocking. And
so you went hard.
I went hard.
Okay.
I mean, I was in the trailer parks, and this one lady, she was as wide as the trailer that she was living in. And I was just looking at her body, like, how does somebody's body made up like that? And she's like, hey, my eyes are up here. like, oh, man.
I'm sorry, miss.
I'm sorry, miss. But yeah, no, there were no people with money. It was just you had to trick people into doing it. And that was it. Nobody had money. You caught people when they were going to pay their bill, and it was collected on a debit. So when people were paying their bill, there was no online. People didn't have computers. There was no mail. They didn't know where the post office was. So I went and I was a bill collector on a monthly basis. It's like the shit you go through. You're like, you never know how crazy it is till you're done. But I would collect their payment, and I'd say, well, you can get $10,000 more if you just give me another $5, and I hustled them.
Yeah,
pretty much. And that's a policy.
And you upgraded them.
Upgraded them,
right.
But anyway, that's how that went. But no, there was nobody with money. I didn't come from money. I came from selling in the trailer parks.
I didn't say you came from money. I said usually when you work in a brokerage, people you can kind of see who really kind of excels.
Yeah.
But usually there's kind of there's a little bit of a help that you see that. So I guess that didn't happen to
No,
you.
We were in the country. We're selling life insurance in the country, and you really gotta just.
So you're originally from Jersey.
Yeah.
All your life.
Yeah.
So how is it that you've come to penetrate so deeply into New York that
the internet?
Yeah, the internet. Is
Social
that how?
Media.
So how was it? How did you first come across the bridge? You saw like an event or something?
I saw an event, and I noticed that when people are from in general, when people are from a certain area, they intend to not leave that area.
Okay.
So in my industry, I noticed that the people in my industry only want to work within the borders of their state. People or county,
right.
Westchester, Bronx, New York City, Queens, New Jersey as a whole. People will drive 2.5 hours within New Jersey before they drive 20 minutes to New York.
Across the bridge, right.
It's some mental thing. So anyway, it was an opportunity in the market that I saw. And
this is all your own, like, investigating.
Just
looking at the landscape, saying, how can I be more?
Yeah, because when you drive in a circle, you see the same gas station 5 times. You might be going in a circle. But what I'm saying is that I noticed that when I go to this networking event over here, everybody was from that area.
Right. Okay.
NAREP is a different story because everybody travels for NAREP. But
right.
in general, these people were from Westchester. We were in Westchester. These people from New Jersey, they're in New Jersey, and people were not crossing the bridges.
Okay.
And people from Rockland don't want to really associate with Westchester, and vice versa. They don't want to cross that bridge. So I noticed that, and I figure it's just open up an Easy Pass account. It's not a big deal. It's the best.
I got a car.
Yeah, I got a car.
Yeah.
But it's you can build equity in yourself if you are present and you show up to different places. Don't be limited by where you are.
They say 90% of it is showing up.
Yeah,
right?
it is.
90% of showing up. And where would you say the majority of your business is right now?
So pre-COVID, I guess it was the Bronx.
Okay.
Pre-COVID, post-COVID, it was it was everywhere else. So now
So the Bronx slowed down.
Bronx definitely slowed down.
Okay.
Westchester, New Jersey, but even in the Bronx, people are just moving around in the Bronx. So I can't really say that much, but people are moving away from where they were because they don't like where they were. They're just trying to get larger properties.
Right. More space.
More space.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I see that.
But I got my muscles.
He's nervous,
so,
man. He's nervous.
I got so many big muscles. But I broke this pen. But I'd say it's spread out. Rockland, Westchester, Orange County, New Jersey, Bronx, New York City, Manhattan, Hamptons now.
Oh, yeah,
Shout out
Hamptons.
to Devin Hogan from the Hamptons. He's coming on board with us.
He called you?
Yes.
Okay. Realtor?
Yeah. Actually, I called him trying to sell him insurance, and he was like, absolutely not. I sell insurance myself. I said, okay, well, let's be friends. And then now we're working together.
Okay.
But yeah,
Cool,
shout
cool.
out to Devin Hogan, good guy.
Okay. So now you're in the Hamptons. Are you covering things that he can't cover and vice versa?
No. He was doing it at his company, and now he's actually bringing more insurance companies to our brokerage, so that we can be better. I was trying to write insurance in the Hamptons and Queens, and I wasn't. I was getting a little too spread thin, so I wasn't really closing the deals. And now he is able to help us make sure that we're doing that.
The right stuff.
The
okay.
right stuff.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
so
Did you connect with Patrick?
Which Patrick?
My boy in the Bronx?
Not yet.
Yeah, he's been around. He's an OG.
Yeah.
I've been a client of his.
When I go to Patrick, if you're watching this, when I go to you, I want to be right. I don't want to waste your time. Not ignoring you, but when I call you, I want to have some substance and maybe have a couple customers to give you too.
Yeah, Patrick doesn't on the internet too much.
Right.
Yeah, he's funny that way. So building your equity, just to give an example, right? Like because you have so many young people that want to get in the game, and I appreciate that. I respect it and I like it. I just think that it's almost like people see the highlight film of your life and they don't understand the rep it took to get there. The repetition is the mother of mastery, as they say, and I think that's what we're starting to see. In the industry, like they see you're an insurance guy and they think you make $1 billion, and they're like, you're everywhere. And whether you do well or not is not the question. The question, the statement rather is you do well for yourself, but your business does the talking for you. That's how I feel before social media. Things used to work. Like your business speaks for you. Like people would hear about a guy that got a crazy deal done, and his name is Omar, but they never saw him. And they would look for me and they'd text me and whatever. I heard you did my cousins, or I heard you did this guy, or you helped you save this deal. And that's the way it used to be. But now with the proliferation of the internet, I think that it's important for us to use the word to celebrate our victories. Only because I feel not enough black and brown skin is out there discussing their victories. I think they're, if anything, I don't know if it's culturally instilled in us to be, I don't want to say just humble, but rather kind of like to hide. And I'm trying to change that narrative. I don't know if you've seen that on your side. This is just something that I've come across, and I'm not going to stop talking about it because I believe that if a young kid out there sees somebody like me and is like, yo, he kind of looks like me, and you know what? Maybe I want to be the owner of my own company, or maybe I don't have to play basketball. I don't have to be a lawyer. I don't have to be a doctor. I don't, it's like the 4 major careers that everybody talks about. Or I don't have to be a hip hop artist. Or now the new thing is streamer, right? I don't have to be a streamer. I think that's why it's important. I think that's why it's important for us to talk about it. And I think when I talk about building our own equity, I mean that the good work that you do produces goodwill among your fellow professionals, among clients, among communal clients. Like I've referred people to you, and it's just because you're professional. And people don't. I know people like they kind of laugh when they hear that, but they don't. It's because they don't understand the gravity of that statement. Being a professional, like you want somebody that's gonna be, if not better, at least at your standard of professionalism, because people remember. And people always remember the bad experience, right? It could be a great thing altogether. That one little thing that went wrong, they'll remember it. So if we can mitigate the chances of a bad experience happening, I think that helps propel us all. And I think we don't do that enough. I'll use your industry as an example, right? Like you have real estate agents. I could talk about this because I'm a real estate broker. I'm a lender. I'm everything. So you have real estate agents that only they only refer to certain insurance brokerages because they're gonna make $50 or whatever it is, whatever stupid amount of money it is. And really, it is, to me, it's stupid. But the client ends up paying. The client ends up getting a policy that's really not that good for them. Or you have real estate agent dictating to their insurance guy, you'll lower that, to a point where the client's not properly insured. And then God forbid something happens, they come back and, these clients are buying a house and it's their biggest investment. And now they can't even, like there was a flood. Oh, I can't even cover that flood. Why? Because you didn't get that policy. Why not? Because you got the cheapest policy, right? So having these conversations with you is just something I want to just shed a little light on, because I think it's serious. Mm-hmm. I think in the short term, people, oh, I want to get mine. Yo, get yours. It's all, really, it's all good. But at the end, you're only hurting the client. And I don't think enough people understand that.
Absolutely. You brought up the gift card thing, and we used to.
I never said gift card, but go ahead.
That's how.
That's what I heard.
That's what I heard. But there are car dealerships out there. There are real estate brokerages out there, and there are joint ventures out there. And it's. I'm going to get mine, and it is good to get yours. However, do not get yours so much that the client is neglected. If you have created a transactional situation where the customer has a bad experience. Okay, let's say I work at a car dealership and I do sell Ferraris, but then you got this lady that has 16 kids looking at a Ferrari. You got a used car lot in the back. Ferrari's going to give you a very good incentive to sell a Ferrari. However, you got the Chrysler Town and Country in the back that you'll make half the commission on. So it's not about, that's a very extreme example, but it's not about the dollar and the penny. And it's good to get those incentives, those kickbacks, but also remember that you want that client to not only come back, but you want that client to also recommend to you. Mm-hmm. So when we start looking at the nickel and diming and this and that, it's cautious. And to your point, it's easier to be in business when the whole town is on your side.
Right.
When you got a whole group of people on your side versus you made $50 off of this kickback, or you made $500, you made $1,000, whatever you made, that's one person, but it's easier when your reputation can spread like wildfire, because that's priceless.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, you could get the kickbacks all you want, but longevity of careers kickbacks can't hold you. It's easier when you have a line of customers. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And, Amazon is not knocking on our, well, they are knocking on our door. Look, your tripod is from Amazon Basics. So I mean to put your business out there, but I'm just I'm just saying that it doesn't matter how you got the client. It's just that as long as there's a line outside your door of people knocking, because you have that good reputation. Mm-hmm. And it's a sales career, a business is easier when you have customers or centers of influences sending you customers, because they know that experience will be a great experience.
Even bigger than that, bro. Like, we have a fiduciary responsibility. Do you know the amount of, or the lack of, financial literacy there is in our cultures? There's such a lack of financial literacy. And when I'll use the Spanish culture as an example. Like, when a Spanish person comes to me and I'm their point of contact, like, everything I say is bond. Like, I think you should talk to Rick. He's I'm only working with Ricky. I think you should do this. It becomes bond. So, like, there's a big responsibility, right? With great power comes great responsibility. I don't think people. Well, you know what? I'll say this: the people that don't take it seriously, the people that don't really understand the magnitude of their influence, are the people that are always looking for new clients, and the people that don't have a referral book.
Yep.
Right. And that in the long run. Now we're talking. You've been doing insurance how long?
16 years.
16 years. I was recruited into this business in 2005. So I'm around there. Mm-hmm. I'm around there. Mm-hmm. It's about 15, 16 years, or maybe 17. But anyway, and what I didn't understand, like, you don't know what you don't know. So when I first got into it, I didn't know, right? Mm-hmm. And as I learned, as I bought properties, as I did my own thing, I took my own bumps. I'm able to now maybe help other people, like, not take those bumps. And luckily, I was able to, whatever bumps I had, financial obstacles I had, I was able to, overcome them, and they weren't killers, where you have some people that actually ended up during the crisis losing their homes and, all that craziness. Do you find when people come to you for insurance, and I know we have a couple of clients we could refer to directly, but we won't. Are they only just looking for the bottom dollar deal, or do some people say, I want to have decent insurance and I want to have a decent policy? Does anybody ever come to you real like that?
The people that have a lot of money understand that they can get sued.
So the people who have shit want to protect their shit?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
That makes sense.
The people that have a lot of money understand that they can get sued. And there's also some people with a lot of money that don't care.
Right.
And they said, let it ride. I dare you to sue me. So and they're the
I'll
people
take my chances.
They kill people instead of showing up to court. But it's a 50-50. But it's when I explain to anything, you explain to people what they're getting. It's a very simple principle that first, okay, you're coming to me to save money, no problem. But I tell them the 20 things that you're getting, and then this is how much it costs. And it's like, oh, okay, well, that is a good deal.
It's worth it.
It's $1 million here, $1 million there, $500,000 over here. They'll put you in a hotel if you can't live in the house. They'll do this. If the toilet backs up, the plumber's going to show up. Insurance going to take care of it. Boom, 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 boom. And then when you get to the price is a not that I'm trying to trick people to spend a lot of money, but it becomes a non-subject because. Right.
Well, because you've already displayed the value of what they're getting.
Display the value first.
Yeah, absolutely.
Display the value first.
Right.
And that's an old trick. When the guy showed up with the vacuum cleaner at your door to sell you the vacuum cleaner. We're going back now. I'm talking to all my old heads. About the door-to-door vacuum sales.
Did you sell vacuums?
I did not. I refused. I did sell televisions, but I refused to sell vacuum cleaners. But they tell you about everything that you're getting, and because of this, you won't have to hire a cleaning lady, blah, 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 blah. And now this is how much it costs. It becomes that, well, I'm going to profit if I dish out this money.
Right.
If they commit to that loan, or if they just listen to you and do it your way, yes, it does cost that, but you're saving all of these headaches, and then it becomes worth it. So now we're in the court of law to see what's guilty and what's not guilty. Okay, let's do it. I should spend the money.
You're just shifting perspective to focus on what the good things are over the bad
That's
things.
Right.
He said, "Oh yeah, you got it."
We're in court. It's a test. These politicians, you create the narrative.
Right.
You create the narrative, and when it's like, oh well, yeah, I should. And it's a little bit of brainwashing, but you create the narrative, and then the narrative takes care of itself.
Who's your biggest referral source? Not the person, but rather the profession.
The profession. Yeah. That has evolved over time like crazy.
Okay.
In the beginning, it was the people that I went up to in the parking lots or the doors that I used to knock on.
Well, you go in direct to consumer, right? D2C,
yeah.
Right? Okay.
So fast forward to today, it was car dealerships, then it became loan officers. Then it became loan officers and attorneys, and it became loan officers, attorneys, and financial advisors. But now it's everybody.
Okay, so there's no one.
Now it's not just one. I mean, everybody has a certain center of influence in their industry, and when they're powerful in their industry, the customers listen to them, and then they send the customer, and the customer listens to them. But now I'd say it's loan officers, accountants, lawyers, realtors. But the ones that have a say in their transaction and the ones that have a good reputation, so the customer knows that you have created so many good situations. And even if there's a different insurance, I send customers away.
Right.
If I shouldn't sell the insurance, I tell them where to buy it.
Okay.
So you should.
Okay, that's big because people don't. Not everybody does that.
You have to, because in certain situations, like it used to be, especially in the state of New York, it used to be that if you had a pit bull dog, you can only buy it from State Farm. And if I found out you had a pit bull, every day I was sending people to them because it's a better coverage if you have they call it a vicious dog, even though that's a political thing. It's not a vicious dog.
Right.
But in the end of the day, I don't want to sell it if I shouldn't, because I don't want to go to court.
Okay.
And none of us should want to go to court to get caught. You
in this court shit.
If you want to last in industry more than 5 minutes, you got to do the right thing.
He said, "I don't want to go to court.
I don't have time for it. Not enough days off."
So how do you figure? You've done good continuous business? And I think I've heard some of it because I have some of those same professional tactics. I'll use that word. If I think there's a better fit for you, I'll tell them to go. At certain, like there's certain times, there's one bank that does a certain type of loan for, they call them Sony Mays. I don't do those. Yo, you should call this guy at this bank. He does those. Or this, and
you're not going to try to talk the client out of getting whatever you just said. Sony May.
No, but the thing is, the third part of the conversation becomes the people that try to stay involved when they shouldn't. Like it's, and I get it, and now we're talking about scarcity and abundance mindsets, right? Where, like, oh, I don't know where my next deal is coming from, so I'm going to stay involved, and I'm like, oh, listen, you're better off. I've had this conversation millions of times. So like, focus on what you're good at, and then what you're not good at, farm it out. Because if you keep focusing on what you're good at, you'll excel and you become an authority, and you get so good at it that your money just is continuous, it's fast. If you try to dip and dab, and I have conversations with so many different people, if you want to say, oh, I do loans, but I also do cash advance. Oh, I do loans, but I also do insurance. Oh, I do loans, but I also do title. You don't really do shit, bro. You do a lot of nothing. Mm-hmm. And they always kind of scrambling. And I'm like, and I tell them, you're so busy looking at the nickels and the dimes that you're missing the dollars. You know what I'm saying? Like, and, but I think that's a mindset. I don't. Some people will never change that, and I think that you have to have some sort of success to kind of adapt that perspective. Like you have to like close yourself on it, right? You got to be like, oh shit, that did work, right? That did work. Like I had a memory the other day, back in 07, 08. At a certain point, I was like, yo, man, I don't know if I want to do this shit anymore, this lending shit, because this was during the height of the crisis. And, the deals weren't coming the way they were. And I was just like, at a moment, I was just like, I don't know if I want to do this. And then I closed the deal and I made like $25,000. And I was like, what the fuck am I thinking? I was like, oh, back to reality. Here we are. And, but that can happen to anybody, and if you have enough bad, and the thing was, the reason for that story, the narrative was just big. I never went somewhere else and started doing other things. I just kept pushing through, and eventually you'll break through. Then because I did it and I closed myself, you can't tell me nothing because I've done it. I've done it. Like, conviction sells, right? Like if I believe it because I've done it, you could tell me anything you want. It's like, yeah, but I've done it. Like, it's like saying, yo, I'll show you how to make $1 million. But like, the first question out of your mouth should be, how did you do it? And if they didn't, next. What, you have $1 million? Nah, but we're done. That's where you have these guys online. I do this, I do that. How many units do you own? None. All right, bro. So I think, let me teach you something. Let me teach you a few things, have you run into people like that? Because I run into people like that all the time.
I have, and, God bless them. Everybody's trying to make it.
Right.
Everybody's trying to make it.
Which is what we should do.
Yeah,
right.
Everybody's trying to make it.
Keep it real, man. It can't be Fantasy Island all day.
I guess I got out of financial advising because I realized I don't have any money. Like, I mean, stop faking the fun. If they look, if I can just, if I can be a broke ass, I'll sell insurance because everybody wants to be cheap and save money. So I'll sell. It's an easier sell. But you talked about the big thing you talked about was, if somebody comes to you for a loan that you don't do, you don't try to fake the funk, talk them out of it, and try to hang on to that customer, drag it out. Maybe they lose the offer on the house. Now they can't even buy the property. What? You've created a bad situation, and people don't remember all the particulars, but they remember how they felt or how you made them feel. Yeah. I could smile in your face all day. I can make you guys laugh all day. But if I have created a situation where you're taking time away from your family and your spouse because of me being greedy, you're not going to send me any more clients. So it's, even if you lose, and
they'll smile to your face and then call you like an asshole.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
The real love is when somebody sends you have to realize that when you're talking to a customer, like everybody that's new in business, when you're talking to a client or a prospect, you have to realize that they have friends and they have family.
Right.
And when people,
they have a tribe. They have a tribe. Right.
People go home at night and they vent.
They talk. Right.
This is not working. I should have never tried to get into buying a house.
This motherfucker.
Oh my God. Yeah. Look, Lewis connected me with this one over here. That builds trust. And they're going to go crazy at night trying to figure out who else they can send you that you can guide, because you become, it's old school, but it's the consultative approach. And the reason why you want to create that trust is because they'll send you, when you talk to a customer, you want to clear their whole house out.
Right.
You want to, not that you can do it on day one, but you want to talk to everybody in their house and everybody in their Facebook list. Now these people are part of these Facebook groups. You got moms that are in moms groups, and so
groups that we would never be parts of.
You'll never be part of it.
You'll never penetrate that group. Right. Directly.
These towns, they used to go to a town meeting. Now they just have Facebook groups that say who does commercial lending.
Right.
I know that I could put your name in Hawthorne, New Jersey's Facebook group. Shout out, they do not play. Hawthorne, New Jersey has the best Facebook group, and they don't play.
Really?
And if you do play, they will put you out there. They put your business out. But example, I know that I can put your name into. They say who does commercial lending. I can put your name in there, and I can link them to your Facebook page, and I don't have to worry about anything.
No,
because I know that you won't be rude. I know that you won't lie. I know that you'll give them a good product, or because I know that you'll want to clear out that whole house.
Yeah,
and then you'll want to get back onto the Facebook page.
Right.
And so people don't care who made what commission, but they just care about how they feel.
That's a great example. A great point is this: at the end of the day, people understand that everybody has to make a living, but if people get what they want, the money part becomes obsolete. I can't tell you. In December, I closed about $6 million worth, maybe $7 to $8 million worth of lending for one client. He never asked me how much I make. He's like, hey, I need this done. We need this done by the 16th. Can you do it? I was like, all day. He was like, let's do it. Here's my black card, my American Express. Buy whatever you have to buy, appraisals, whatever. I need to close.
Can we pause there real quick? Let me talk to the salespeople real quick. All our salespeople that you make commission, don't feel bad because you make commission. And the next time somebody asks you how much you making on this deal, all right, let's go to the supermarket real quick. Let's take this milk off the counter.
Right.
This milk costs $3. You think all three of those dollars go back to organic farms in Oregon?
Farmer? Yeah, to the farmer. Yeah,
Didn't somebody ring you up?
Right.
Didn't somebody clean the floor? Didn't they call clean up in aisle 13 so that your broke ass doesn't fall in the aisle?
Right.
All those things cost. So there's so many moving parts. So just like you buy your milk from the supermarket, some of it goes here, some of it goes there, some of it goes there. And the lending industry is no different. Some of it, and it's all. This is the price.
Yep.
So anyway, that's
the price to deploy capital. I mean, like, for me to lend you. I'm just using this as an example. For you to call me on a Friday, fucking bugging out because something happened.
I forgot we could curse here. I thought we were on CBS. Okay, go ahead.
Bugging out like, Omar, I need $2 million by Monday 3:00. For me to deploy that capital, I can get it done.
Oh, you have no family.
It costs money.
You have nothing to do, right? You don't have any pets.
No, what I'm saying that it costs money. You're like, I'm saying it costs money, but we can get it done.
Yeah.
So like sometimes like I'm one of those people, and I don't know if I became this person. I'm a little more fancy now, but I don't like to look at the price tag, but I want it done the way I want it. Like when I stay, here it comes. All right, I know I'm gonna get a lot of backlash for it. I like to stay in certain hotels. I like to fly first class. I like to do certain things, and I'm okay with paying for it. That's what I like. I don't care. I don't care. I don't want to be around a million other people. I'd rather be on the rooftop where it's limited access. That's fine for me, and I'll pay for that. And what I've started to notice really is I'm starting to attract more and more clients like that, and they're like, "Yo, man, I fuck with Omar." Like I've had guys, mortgage guys, pitch a client, get him on the phone, cold call him, and stuff like that. And he'll be like, yo, it sounds dope. I'm going to call Omar right now, and he's going to get me the deal. And they'll call me like, yo, motherfucker, I can't believe your boy, da-da-da. And I'm like, yo, man, it's loyalty. It's brand loyalty. On the other note, I also am building a community. Like what happened, I'm not going to say the name because we both know this person, but got a text at 6 a.m. Hey, my first commercial deal, it's a 6 family. I sent it here. It's getting fucked up. I'm going to lose the deal. Whoa, can you help me? And I'll be like, yo, give me, what's the loan amount? What's the state? What's FICO? And they gave it to me. I said, call this guy at this bank. They'll do that deal. And I kind of like that. Before when I first started, like, no, I want half, or I want to be involved. And I'm like, what? I'm too busy. This is who I would call. Tell me if it works out for you. And I'm starting to create that community. I have a lot of guys that hit me up, like, and all these people. I'm not going to put their name on the live.
Watching right now.
Right. They're like, don't say my name. But I like that I'm building almost like a hustle community, because it really is. I want us all to win, man. And there's enough. There's enough for everybody. And people don't understand it. It's like, I don't know the exact numbers. Like, 7 billion people in the world? In the United States, it's like, 40, 50, 60 million? Darren, if you know the fact, you can tell me. But there's so many people in New York City alone. Like, there's enough for everybody. But people have to all kind of get with the same program to kind of help each other, because information is the one thing that's separating all of us. And if you share information, we just get stronger all together. And you know what? Sometimes I've had guys be like, yo, this is the deal. Like, all right, this is where I would go with it. No, I want you to handle it. Hit me off, but handle it, because I don't want to fuck it up. You know, like, and that's real. Mm-hmm. Okay. So I'll be all right. Well, you be lead on it. Let's sit on a conference call. We'll say I'm the underwriter. Let's discuss it with the client, and I'm gonna sell it. And you just collect the data, and you know, and that's how I started to include people now. And I think that's really working for me. I think you told me that the insurance business refers business also, right?
Absolutely. Oh yeah, yeah. A lot of the biggest referrals come from other insurance agents.
Why does that happen? Because they don't have certain markets?
Because they don't have certain markets, or I may not just understand that market, and this person does. So if there's a Florida, I'm licensed for Florida. I believe I can do Florida.
I believe I can do Florida.
I believe so. But there's so many things that can go wrong, and everything's changing in Florida. But the point that I'm making is that if you identify you have your hustle community, right? Mm-hmm. So you're making sure that everybody eats. Mm-hmm. And when you have people looking out for you, they can help you get business. And I mean, I don't know, have you ever had the chance to see The Black Godfather on
I watched Netflix? It because you told me to, of course. So, yeah. So
it's a way of thinking that and it's nothing about race, so don't comment on it.
It could be any Godfather, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, right, but it's about making sure that everybody eats. Mm-hmm. And so when you make sure that everybody eats.
Well, I'm gonna unpack that a little bit. It's not just making sure everybody eats, it's making sure that people not getting taken advantage of.
Right.
Because I believe that he was in, what's his name again? Is it?
Give me a few minutes. I'll remember.
Well, anyway, the protagonist in the story, you know, he was in the music business. Yes. And he was just making sure the guys that were on the come up were not being taken advantage of and exploited.
Right. And
I mean, like, I had another guest on this on my show the other week. We were talking about how hip hop in the beginning, you know, all the first guys were rocked. They have nothing. I'm not trying to shit on them.
Clarence Avant.
Yeah. Right, there you go. Black Godfather. The first artists, LL Cool J, they signed shit deals, man. They make no money, and you know, then they got a little smarter. Then you got Hove, who took it to the whole next level, who owns everything. But in the beginning, you know, like, imagine they would have had somebody like Clarence. Hey, man, I wouldn't sign that. I would do this or do like just a little help, and it wasn't for money.
Right.
It wasn't for money. It was just to make sure that everybody was getting treated right.
He got back in whenever E.T. came out, I believe that was in the 90s. He got E.T.'s people, he got Steven Spielberg, Michael Jackson, and CBS to all sit in a room together to mediate how they were going to get that movie to come along with the soundtrack and who was going to get paid, and they worked it out. E.T. almost didn't happen.
Really?
But E.T. happened because Clarence Avant got the power players to sit at a table, and I don't believe that Clarence really got anything out of that. And but what happens is he called it, I have a lot of rich friends.
Yeah.
And even in any industry, when you have, and rich is not only about dollars, but it's about customers. So if you have a lot of rich people in your life with customers, they will make sure that you're okay if you help them in the beginning.
Well, I'll go this way. If the day-to-day living, and what I mean by that, if the day-to-day eating, like, you know, because we can go into like the whole poverty system where, like, I think a lot of black and brown people, because they're always, and I'm gonna use this word instead of like being broke or poor, they're always off center because they're always in a deficit, right? They're always like, oh, you know, I don't know how I'm gonna pay the rent. So you're always fucking preoccupied.
Always lacking.
You're always but you're always preoccupied. Mm-hmm. You can't see things clearly, right?
Right.
So if that is taken care of, the next best thing to me is having influence. Because if you have influence, you can make things happen that other people can't. And you know, like, if everything else is the same, we all have the same degree or whatever. We all have the same whatever qualifications. But if you have influence, that's a form of wealth that you can't buy. And you build that influence by building the equity in your own company, by doing the right thing, by being the right person, and not just trying to like look out for every dollar you see on the table and just taking it. You know, like, everybody should get something. You know, like, I'm not saying everybody should be paid the same, because obviously some people did a little more work or have more influence or were more critical to getting something done, and that should be proportionate in, you know, compensation. But there's no place on earth that you can tell me that I made $10 million and I can't give these guys $100,000. You know, like, whatever. Any of the players in the room, everybody should eat. But I think that think the 90s kind of glorified it with like Wall Street and stuff like that. Oh, crush them. I'm like, yeah, crush them. And then, then you're bankrupt morally. Because like now, like at the end of the movie, it was great. Like, they repossess all the shit. He has to sell everything. Like, fuck, I don't give a fuck. Because it didn't mean anything. Because the way you were doing it, you basically, I don't want to say selling your soul, but you were taking away your humanity for the sake of $1. And there's a medium. You can live a good life and still be a good person. I think that person wins in the end. Maybe in the beginning, or you might not start off as hard because you're busy laying out your fucking foundation. Other guys just like cutting, they call scorching earth, right? They just taking. But the earth, if you scorch the earth, it doesn't reproduce anymore.
Sure doesn't. That's the best thing you ever said.
You can't come back.
You talk a lot. I'm joking with him.
It's the truth, and I see that.
Can you say that again? The scorched earth.
Once you scorch the earth, it doesn't reproduce anymore. Yeah.
Burning bridges left and right doesn't work. I mean, even if you're trying to build and co-sign with me on this. Let's say you are the teenager and you're getting ready to go work at CVS.
Right.
Okay, there's always, no matter what company or no matter wherever you go to work or what businesses you go to start, you can try to become number one in something that you can control. So I had the benefit of attempting to play freshman football. You talked about sports. You talk about people, you wanted to become a sports. I tried to everybody in middle school was going in to play freshman football. I was like, oh yeah,
I'm gonna play
offensive guard. Yeah, nothing can go wrong, right? You got first. You should try to understand the game of football before you try to play it. I thought, because I played Madden, I thought it's the same.
I played Madden.
Oh my God, I had the cleanest uniform all year. They invented a fourth string or something. Shout out Atlantic City High School, 05. But anyway, I came out of that experience as a total failure. I never had to send my uniform to the laundry to get cleaned because it was the same way they gave it to me. So it was clean as could be. Very shiny too. It was like white and shiny. But anyway, I say that to say that I came out of that experience and I said I will never be. I don't know how successful I'll be in life, but I said one thing that's going to happen is I will never be on the bottom like this ever again.
Okay.
I said no matter what I'm going to get into, and I kind of said to myself, all right, let me try this wealth management thing.
Right.
And I said, how'd
you get into that? How'd you learn about that?
And wealth management?
Yeah. Does your family come from money? I'm not being funny. I'm just because like usually that's an industry you would only go into. Like I'll give you an example. Lending? That's not a Spanish fucking profession, bro. My name isn't Fivowitz, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, but I got recruited by somebody with that ending, and I learned the game, and now I took it and I narrated it and made it myself. But had I not been, and the reason I was recruited because he needed me to penetrate the black and brown communities. Right. He needed the face. So it was a win-win, right? So I'm like, all right. So then I started learning and I became more conscious and aware, and I was like, oh, fuck this. Yeah, I'm gonna do this. And I did my thing. But had somebody not needed me, I wouldn't have known about it. I had a liquor store and a club. That I thought was doing it because that's what I learned when I was growing up in the hood.
I think that part of it was because I grew up in the Atlantic City area. I would see the casinos.
Was it during the boom or during the depression?
It was during the boom. Yeah,
Okay.
It was a very good time in Atlantic City. But I went to school with the locals of Atlantic City, so and my parents were aware of government and casinos and stuff like that. But what I'm saying is that I see the casinos. I see these people that come to gamble money. I see people that were addicted to gambling. I saw people who got hooked on drugs. And I would see everybody else that lived behind the casinos. And I guess something in me said, if I could just teach people how to manage their wealth, and that was just like a feeling that I had as a teenager.
Wow,
so I just kind of went with that and kind of felt it out. Then I got into I became a bank teller. Then I became a life insurance person. And everything evolved from there. But I came out of football, said I'm never going to, be on the bottom again. I'm going to be a champion. No matter what you're doing, even if you fail at one thing, you should just be the best at what you're doing.
Right.
And so if you're the best if you try to be and no matter how, and it takes self-confidence too. So even if you are working at CVS, if you have the number one amount of care cards signed up, you are still number one in that. Then you have CVS executives bragging about you, and then you get promotions. So anywhere you go, there are metrics, and you pay attention to whatever metric you can control,
right,
and then keep that on the forefront. And you are number one in this, number one in that.
Right. So anything you're doing, try to be number one.
Try to be number one.
Right.
Or people, at least make people think you're number one in it. At least.
Make people
but
think.
specialize in it. You said people, they want to do loans, they want to do this, they want to do that.
Yo, all right. You want to talk about that? Everybody wants to be a loan officer until it takes, then you have to learn about, see, I hit the mic, until you have to figure out what collateral is, what debt to income is, debt service coverage ratio is, continuation of obligation, until you have to figure out density of credit. And then all of a sudden the shit becomes too hard, right? So then you have a whole bunch of guys that can say, hey man, I can get you a loan, and then it stops. And then they'll call somebody like me behind the scenes, yo, oh, what does this mean? Yo, how do we do this? Yo, and that's what I see a lot of. I see a lot of that. I'm not shitting on anybody in particular, but and I tell them, yo, dude, why don't you learn? Like, you've been doing this longer than I have. No, I got you. I was like, I'm gonna get paid. So yeah, all right, no problem. I'll get paid. I'm not gonna fight you about it. But I'm like, yo, why wouldn't you want to do that? When I was recruited into the banking world, first I was real estate agent Omar, where I was finding properties for him. So I found like 2 or 3. I got paid, and I saw the commissions, and I was like impressed. I was like, oh shit, there's money in this. Like 6% of 300,000. That's 18. Wow, like, you know what I'm saying? Like I had a liquor store. I was selling fucking bottles for like $5, making $1.25. So I was like, these margins are dope. Then he owned a mortgage bank. This is going back to 2005, and he told me, he was like, yo, I came in, I went in to get my check one time, and he was like, yo man, look, you're really good at this, but if you really, like, what are you making at the store? And I told him like $1.50, whatever, after everything. He's like, you make 5-6 times that right here. He's like, but you got to come learn this shit, man. He's like, I can't, you could part-time in, you know, because I did 4 months there, I made 70, so I knew there was money in it. He was like, you could part-time it, you could do your thing. I could lie to you and be like, you'll be great. But if you focus, you know, and I'm going back to what I was saying, this is like a lesson I learned in 2005 that I still preach to this day. He said, if you focus, you can make 7 figures, you can be a millionaire. So if you want to be a millionaire, maybe you should think about focusing. And that changed my life. Coming from somebody who's doing it, going back to what I told you, like if you haven't done it, how you can tell me to, then you fucking listen. You're like, well, this guy, he thinks I can do it, and I'm fucking doing it. And that started my whole run, you know what I'm saying? And then I took it a step further. Like, it was a mortgage bank, so there was underwriters in-house. So I would go with my deals. Once my deal would get to the underwriter, I made friends with them, and I would go sit and learn on how they underwrote the loan. I learned what DU was, what LP was, what prospectus, you know, all deep haven. Like, there's so many things that I could talk about. But
do you think that's something that people are born with, like the desire to learn versus the desire to be successful? And do you think when people come to you that they're coachable, do you think that it's something that they learn, or how, if somebody comes to you, because, you know, a couple years ago, you didn't have to worry about social media, but now our babies and our teenagers have social media that see that finished product. So how do you...
The highlight film
that you talked about.
Yeah, the highlight film.
Do you think that that's wanting to learn and evolve? Do you think that's something that people have it inside, or they have to learn to want to learn?
I think adversity is the biggest fucking creator of great people.
Adversity.
Yeah. My son told me that the other day. He goes, Dad, you know, I don't have adversity. You took care of everything. I'm like, shut up. But it's the truth. He's like, yo, like, I came up really poor, and I came up hearing from my mother, yo, we can't afford that. Yo, don't look at that. We're not buying that, or don't ask to eat anything outside, and all that.
I don't have McDonald's money.
Right. Don't even stop there.
I thought, what is McDonald's money?
So I was like, all right, so I don't like this. How can I get away from this? And then that created, I believe, my part of my DNA, like the ability, the ability to learn. But you know, like, you take these lessons, and either you become the product of, yeah, I guess I can, or yo, fuck that, I want to. How do I get there? And I never want my mom to talk like this again. And that's kind of where I went with, and that's what started my whole journey into wealth creation. We'll call it that.
So can we get, this is your show, but I'm going to ask you a question. So can we get personal for a minute? So a lot of us will become successful, and then we're going to have children. So how do you explain to your son to keep wanting to learn, even though he may not have grown up in it wasn't?
What I tell them all the time is that I'm not here forever, and your responsibility. I tell them this all the time. The responsibility of the stronger person is to protect the weaker person. And what I say by that is not just muscles, but economics. Like, there's people that they go places they can't afford it. Like, they seem like I give money to people on the street because, yo, man, you would never want to be there. So I tell them that. I say, look at it as a lesson. I'm not telling you to live in fear, but just be aware. right? Like, you're fucking lucky, right? So spread the love. And I tell him, you smart. I beat his head all the time. I'm like, yo, man, you're everything. I was like, but don't rest on it. Go farther, right? So wherever I stop, I'm passing the baton to you. You keep going and see where you go, right? Because I stopped here at this level, but I started at this level. You're starting here. Your responsibility is to go farther. And your responsibility is, I tell them, to everybody else who can't, we have family members that can't. They just don't, they can't. And our responsibility is to do it for them, because you want to be that family member that, God forbid, somebody's in a jam. I get the fucking call all the time about, I need help with this, or my son's not listening, or this or that, or what do you think about this contract? Or yesterday I got a call. Can you explain to me what a 1031 tax exchange is? Because I'm going to sell a property and I don't know what that is. They're talking about it. I was too embarrassed to tell the buyer that I didn't know what that was. Like, you want to be that resource, right? You want to be, because whatever we have, we want to try to maintain and build on. And there's a lot of sharks in the water, bro. And they don't want you to keep. They don't want you to keep it. You don't know what 1031 is? That's fine. Sign here. Mm-hmm. And when you get hit with your capital gains tax, they take 50% of your $3 million, and now you only have 1.5. It's not the same. It's not the same. I tell them, I explained what 1031 was. I was like, and then you have to invest in another property and blah blah blah. But nobody's going to teach you that. Nobody. And I think I spoke about it earlier. Like, information. The sharing of information is so important, right? Like, I know this about the financial part. There's shit about insurance I don't want to know, but I'll call you. But I think I called you. We're gonna buy a Sprinter for production, right? Luxury Sprinter. I called Rick. Yo, how much is the Sprinter insured? Just kind of to factor it in. That's not what I do. It's what you do. And I've come to trust you and respect you. And like I said, I want to deal with people that are as professional as me. And that's kind of how it just works. To me, that's how it works. And that's how that creates a circle that like Jay said, if everybody's rich and everybody will be each other's crutches, that's the way it should be. That's the way it should be. I see it very clearly. Other people may beg to differ. That's just the way I see it.
And one thing I've seen you do is, because you're a very successful person, and whether someone likes your personality or not, one thing that people cannot ignore is that you will go to people, and if you'll let them interview on your show, or you'll get to let them on your Instagram, and you will give people a platform that really cannot really help you directly, but you are willing to help the little guy, I would say.
I think we're all little guys until we hit the Jeff Bezos money. Then we could talk. Unless my last name is Musk, I'm still little.
His last yacht, I think that he's making a new yacht, but even his old yacht,
they're disassembling a bridge so his yacht can pass by, and he's paying for it. That's gangster.
That's right.
That's fucking gangster.
And the bridge activists are like,
what's happening? The worst. Yo, man, we're good, man. Here's
go the other way. Yeah, take the other bridge.
So listen, guys, if you've enjoyed this interview so far, February 24th, we're going to be doing an event. We'll be there. If you have any questions, we'll be there to speak to. And Rick, speak to the camera. Just tell them where they can reach you for any insurance needs. Yeah,
for any insurance needs, you can reach me on Instagram, RickyTV, or you could reach me at ricky@hudsonunited.com.
If you want to laugh, go to RickyTV.
Yeah, if you want to laugh, go to
So tell them what you do with your Instagram, because I think people need to know that.
Well, yeah, so humor, I read in this sales book a long time ago, and I need to explain this, so it was good that you asked me that.
Get it out.
So I'm not just trying to be a goofball, but I read in this book, this sales book, I think I was 18 or 19 years old, Little Red Book of Selling by Jeffrey Gittimore. Very good book. If you're new in sales, pick it up, or if you're old in sales, pick it up. It's a very good read. He talked about study humor and be as funny as you can, if you can be. And on my Instagram page, I am making people laugh, and if you can make people laugh, you can, I'm not going to say you can control them, but you can have a lot of influence in people's life. Mm-hmm. If Chris Rock walked through this door right now, we would, say, oh, let's listen to what he has to say.
What's up, Chris?
Yeah, what's up, Chris? Yeah. We would stop and listen. But humor opens up people's spirits.
Okay.
And then they're open to listening to you a little more.
Fun fact about Chris Rock, I was doing a birthday party for one of my sons at it's the Palisades Mall. It's one of those high-end bowling spots. So I had 3 lanes. He had showed up, and he looked all crusty and shit. Shout out to Chris. And he was tight because I had 3 lanes, and he wanted a lane for his wife came in the mink or whatever. He's divorced now, so I can say that. They came in looking serious, but he was very upset.
Yeah. And, what'd you say to him?
Sorry, Chris.
You turned down Chris Rock.
No, I didn't own the place. I had 3. I have like 20, 30 kids running around, bro. I can't put him on 2 lanes.
What'd you say to the wife that had the mink on?
I didn't say anything. I turned around because she had the anger face on. But that's another story. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. I'll see you guys at 2:00 because I'm on here today.